Mr. Walz has been my favorite teacher in high school and many of my classmates as well.
Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we're breaking down the life and career of Minnesota Governor turned 2024 Democratic Vice Presidential candidate Tim Walz.
The time for hiding behind thoughts and prayers is long gone. What we need is action, and we need it now. So here's what's going to happen.
Number 10. Walz enlisted in the National Guard at 17.
Donald Trump is going to put women's lives at risk. That's 100% true. Donald Trump is potentially going to end constitutional liberties that we have, end voting. I do believe all those things are a real possibility.
Timothy James Walz showed interest in a life in public service from an early age. Inspired by his father, who had done the same, Walz enlisted in the Army National Guard as soon as he was able to. James Walz, a veteran of the Korean War, had been able to pursue a post-secondary education thanks to the GI Bill, which provided vets with academic opportunities. Enlisting in 1981, the future governor initially served for 20 years, re-enlisting in 2001 following the tragic events of the 9/11 attacks on New York City. Walz retired from service in 2005 to run for Congress, having attained the rank of Commander Sergeant Major.
Listen to the guy. He's talking about Hannibal Lecter and shocking sharks and just whatever crazy thing pops into his mind. And I thought we just gave him way too much credit.
Number 9. John Krey gave Walz his political start.
It's true. These guys are just weird. And it's, you know, they're running for He-Man Women Haters Club or something. That's what they go at. That's not what people are interested in.
The roots of Walz's political career were first planted in the city of Mankato, Minnesota. Born in West Point, Nebraska, Walz moved to Mankato, located in his wife Gwen's home state, in 1996. There, he worked as a high school teacher and football coach, leading Mankato West High's team of perennial losers to a state championship in 1999. The school's first. Fittingly enough, Walz was inspired by his students to volunteer for Massachusetts Senator John Kerry's unsuccessful 2004 presidential campaign against incumbent President George W. Bush. Troubled after taking them to a Bush rally, Walz got a job coordinating the Kerry campaign in Mankato.
The fascists depend on fear. The fascists depend on us going back. But we're not afraid of weird people. We're a little bit creeped out, but we're not afraid.
Number 8. Love at first sight? Not quite. Walz's choice in romantic partner is pretty fitting. Gwen Walz, née Whipple, is also a teacher by trade. In fact, the First Lady of Minnesota's parents were teachers too. Bearing a BA from Gustavus Adolphus College, as well as a master's degree from Minnesota State University, Mankato, Gwen moved to Alliance, Nebraska to pursue a teaching career. You've probably figured it out by now, but this is where she first encountered her future husband, Tim. It's a good thing they ended up liking each other. They once shared a classroom. While Gwen declined a kiss at the end of their first date, Walz responded with, quote, "That's fine, but you should know I'm going to marry you." Number 7. Walz's first election was a major upset. Vice President Kamala Harris's VP pick is no stranger to catching Republicans off guard. A little more on that later. As we mentioned earlier, Walz retired from active military service in 2005, launching his campaign to represent Minnesota's 1st congressional district on February 10th of that year. From the beginning, Walz's campaign faced a seemingly insurmountable uphill battle. Since 1995, the district had been represented by Gil Gutnick, a Republican. Furthermore, save for Gutnick's predecessor, its constituents had consistently voted red since 1893. Described by Politico as, quote, "a tireless advocate for veterans," Walz, perhaps even to his own surprise, won the election with 53% of the vote. Number 6. He's fine with looking his age.
Like I have white guy tacos and
what is
like
that,
black,
like mayonnaise and tuna? What are you doing?
pretty much ground beef and cheese.
That's okay. Do you put any flavor in it?
No.
In an unusual and definitely unexpected turn of events, Walz was the subject of Republican attacks for his age and appearance. For context, Walz and Kamala Harris are about the same age. Walz is slightly over 6 months older than Harris.
No, they said to be careful and let her know this, that black pepper is the top of the spice level in Minnesota, you know.
As reported by Rhonda Gerlich for the New York Times, a significant amount of discourse surrounding the vice presidential candidate has focused on Walz's age with regard to his appearance, particularly when juxtaposed with Harris's reported, quote, youthfulness. In response, Walz commented that as an educator, he had overseen school lunchrooms for over 20 years, and that, quote, "You do not leave that job with a full head of hair. Trust me."
It is an amazing privilege for me also I'm excited. I just want to be part of the excitement that you're generating.
Number 5, the story behind his controversial military retirement.
Some of the criticism has been about your vice presidential pick and his leaving the National Guard at 24 years. Vance said that he deserted his own troops or his own colleagues.
As previously mentioned, Walz filed papers to run for Congress in February 2005, just ahead of his retirement from military service that May. As reported by Fox News, Walz signaled his intention to retire approximately 5 to 7 months prior to doing so, later commenting that he was committed to his congressional campaign and wanted to avoid any potential conflicts of interest.
We were informed that we would be alerted to go to Iraq within the next upcoming year or time period out there. Start preparing your team, getting your team together, and let's get the process in play.
While some Republicans, including Walz's vice presidential rival, Senator J.D. Vance of Ohio, accused him of, quote, abandoning his unit, the Minnesota National Guard confirmed that Walz had retired 2 months before they received news of their deployment. That ultimately occurred in March 2006.
Again, backing up, he had told me, no, I'm going forward. We're going to go with the battalion and go from there.
Number 4, how the NRA demoted him from an A to an F.
I'm Tim Walz. You know, growing up hunting taught me a lot about responsibility and respect, lessons I hope to pass on to my kids. I'm proud to stand with the NRA to protect the rights of sportsmen and gun owners.
Speaking to the Minnesota Star-Tribune in 2018, just prior to the gubernatorial election, Walz recalled, quote, how he and friends would bring their guns to school so they could hunt after football practice. A lifelong gun owner, Walz consistently received an A rating from the National Rifle Association of America, as well as multiple endorsements.
The time for hiding behind thoughts and prayers is long gone. What we need is action, and we need it now. So here's what's going to happen.
However, one event irrevocably changed Walz's views on gun rights: the 2018 attack at Marjory Stoneman Douglas High School in Parkland. Disgusted, Walz donated any money that the NRA had sent his way to the Intrepid Fallen Heroes Fund, and since achieving statewide office, has consistently pursued tighter restrictions on gun ownership.
We've got gun safety bill on the table, and we're going to get it passed, and I'm going to sign it.
Number 3. His progressive track record has deep roots.
Mr. Walz has been my favorite teacher in high school and many of my classmates.
As you've seen in the previous entry, Walz's political views and opinions have shifted significantly over his decades in public service. However, his commitment to and support for progressive causes has been unwavering. While teaching at Mankato West, Walz stepped up to act as the faculty advisor for the school's Gay-Straight Alliance, organized by student Jacob Wrighton.
Well, this was Tim Walz's answer in 2006. I'm not just against the federal marriage amendment. I'm for gay marriage.
In 2018, Walz commented on why he had decided to take on the role, explaining that, quote, it really needed to be the football coach, who was the soldier and was straight and was married. Walz is also a strong proponent of the legal right to an abortion, has been demonstrably pro-union, and has signed into law numerous protections for the LGBTQ+ community.
Mr. Walz paid as much attention to me as our 4.0 or A student classmates, and I think it's just really important when you're age 14, 15, to have an adult outside of your family that cares and has that much interest.
Number 2, he's clarified that not all Republicans are, quote, weird. Okay, so chances are you've probably heard Walz's now famous description of the 2024 Republican presidential ticket. In his first public remarks following his selection as Vice President Harris's running mate, Walz referred to former President Donald Trump and Senator J.D. Vance by saying the following, quote, these guys are creepy, and yes, just weird as hell. To more deeply understand Walz's attack on the two, look back to a 2023 Politico interview. Walz said, quote, when we're running against the generic Republican, our races are always really close. But there's no such thing as a generic Republican. These guys are weird. Once they start running, their weirdness shows up, and especially with the nominee on the other side. Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. Number 1. The one thing Walz and his Republican counterpart have in common. And no, it's not their love for Diet Mountain Dew. Rather somewhat unusually, Walz and J.D. Vance share an increasingly rare distinction, as reported by CNN in August 2024. For the first time in almost 30 years, both VP candidates were once enlisted servicemen. Although the two have predictably been at odds over the thing that bonds them, with Vance openly critical of the details of Walz's service, it's important to note that their respective time serving has deeply shaped their approaches to campaigning as well as governing. That said, Walz doesn't tie his political career exclusively to his time served, musing that, quote, "It wasn't all of who I was. It wasn't central to the reason I was running." Who's your favorite governor of Minnesota? Let us know in the comments below.
I talk about it being halftime in America. We're a touchdown down, and I kind of like the idea of being a little bit behind.
Well, I'm looking at Coach Walz right now.
Did you enjoy this video? Check out these other clips from WatchMojo, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.